Because if you've been watching King's moves over the past few years, the writing has been on the wall the whole time. Reckless driving, that viral Waffle House fight, flashing weapons in his music videos. King's been living like the laws don't apply to him. Each incident felt like a small fire, and now it looks like the whole house might be burning down. The 2024 arrest footage told the full story. Police cameras caught King swerving like he was untouchable, almost smashing straight into a cop car. When they finally pulled him over, boom. Weed in the car, a gun on his hip. And if that wasn't enough, an old 2022 warrant popped up out of nowhere, sealing his fate. It was like every single reckless decision he'd made in the past few years came back to haunt him in one moment. Guys, buckle up, because this story will leave you wondering where T went wrong with raising King Harris. You know T.I., huh?
Ty, who's that?
It's my father. No, I know, is it?
Yeah, okay. Didn't he just retire or say he's going to retire?
Yeah, okay. How old are you, man? 2020 T.I. is now staring down a painful reality he hoped he would never have to face. His son, King Harris, is on the verge of receiving a 5-year prison sentence. 4 years. Tip warned the world that if King didn't slow down, his reckless lifestyle would catch up with him. And now, in a tragic twist, his own prophecy may be coming true. This drama began in October 2024, when King Harris was arrested after a near collision with a police car in Atlanta. While driving his BMW, King nearly struck an officer's vehicle while pulling out of a gas station. The officers immediately noticed the smell of marijuana, and to make matters worse, King had a gun holstered on his hip. "You want to take my gun on my yes, sir?" There's one in the head. "Does your buddy have one as well?" "All right, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires." Then when they ran his ID, the situation got way worse. Turns out there was a warrant out for him dating all the way back to 2022. That warrant wasn't for something minor either. It stemmed from charges of speeding, driving on a suspended license, and a DUI. And instead of facing his day in court, King had skipped the hearing. For 2 years, the shadow of that decision lingered, and in October, it finally caught up with him. "So, what they say my warrant for? So, your warrant is for a failure to appear. Dispatch is going to call in and make sure it's still valid. Failure to appeal where? I didn't have new court dates. It's for a DUI out of Pickens County. Out of Pickens County, you go and confirm that warrant. The only DUI, I had a suspicion of a DUI a long time ago and it was dismissed. So he was arrested on the spot and taken into custody. First at Dobb County Jail, then transferred to Pickens County to answer for the warrant. The arrest report tells the story in cold detail. I informed Mr. Harris that I would need to speak with him outside and opened the driver's side door. The officer wrote, Mr. Harris was cooperative and I removed the firearm from his hip with no issue. I then had Mr. Harris step out of the vehicle and I detained him by placing handcuffs on him. Nothing's in there. Come back so can figure out what the ride I got going on. There's nothing in the modem car. Now within hours, the footage of King being pulled from his car, cuffed, and escorted to the back of a patrol vehicle hit the internet. Canon will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any of my questions or make any statements. For fans, it was a shocking contrast. One moment, King was flaunting luxury cars and a wild lifestyle on Instagram. The next, he was sitting in a jail cell, stripped of everything except the reality of his actions. But for T.I., this wasn't shocking at all. Back in 2022, Tip went viral for clashing with his son on Instagram Live. No, ain't no joking. Ain't no joking. You are embarrassing yourself and your family. You're embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself. During that heated exchange, he warned King that the path he was on would only end 2 ways, behind bars or worse. He even said with a father's frustration and fear that King could end up serving years in prison if he didn't wake up. Now that chilling warning feels prophetic. Over the years, King's behavior seemed to spiral further and further out of control. He was caught on camera in a brawl at a Waffle House. He bragged on social media about street life, flashing guns in music videos, posting clips of himself smoking, and repeatedly rejecting his parents' guidance. What many saw as teenage rebellion, T.I. recognized as a dangerous pattern, one that mirrored the mistake she himself had made in his youth. And that's what makes this story sting even more. Ty knows this road because he's walked it. He served prison time for weapons charges in the late 2000s and has since turned his life around, becoming not only a successful rapper and actor, but also a community leader. For years, he tried to pass those lessons down to King. But like so many fathers and sons before them, the warnings fell on deaf ears. Now T once said, "Time is going to be his teacher." Now those words feel hauntingly prophetic as his son, King Harris, stares down the possibility of a 5-year prison sentence. For years, Tip's warnings have been dismissed as tough love or the frustrations of a father trying to steer a rebellious son. But with King's arrest and looming court dates, time itself may indeed be the only thing left to humble him. King's troubling behavior didn't appear out of nowhere. It's been unfolding in public view for some time. His reckless driving incidents made headlines, showing a young man testing limits with little regard for the consequences. Then came the now infamous Waffle House altercation where King was filmed in a heated confrontation with staff. Whistle. So what I'm saying is they wasn't talk like that outside. Hey, I can talk how the... No, I want to. Wherever I'm at, I'm on live. Shy, stop talking to me, stop talking to me. This ain't your couch restaurant. This ain't your bar restaurant. Everything you make, I can pull out my pocket right now. I ain't tripping on you. I ain't tripping. Get the hell out of my face. What could have been a minor dispute spiraled into a viral moment, one that painted King as entitled and aggressive. Even T himself admitted he couldn't understand why his son behaved the way he did that night, pointing to a pattern of actions that seemed fueled more by pride and impulse than reason. But perhaps the most concerning moment came when King was seen on camera, alongside Boozie's son, Tati Roar, during a music video shoot. Both young men were brandishing guns, playing into a dangerous narrative of street credibility. The sight alarmed not just fans, but also their fathers, two men who had lived through the perils of that same lifestyle. Ty and Boozie intervened, trying to guide their sons with hard-earned wisdom about the dangers of glamorizing violence. Yet, despite their efforts, it was clear that King wasn't fully absorbing the message. This string of incidents painted a picture of a young man spiraling, testing boundaries, and rejecting the guardrails his parents tried to put in place. For T.I., the frustration has always been that he knows exactly where this road leads. Having navigated his own share of legal troubles in the past, Tip understands the harsh reality of prison walls, courtrooms, and lost opportunities. He tried to shield King from that reality by offering guidance, discipline, and even public warnings. But as he once admitted, sometimes only time can teach lessons that no parent, no matter how famous or experienced, can get across. What makes King Harris's situation even more complicated is the timing of his personal life. In November 2024, just weeks after his arrest, King became a father. He proudly celebrated the birth of his son and even released a song titled Dear Son, where he rapped about his commitment to stepping up and being the kind of dad he wished to be. For a brief moment, it seemed like fatherhood might become the anchor that could pull him away from reckless choices and ground him in responsibility. But the joy of welcoming a new life was quickly overshadowed by the looming weight of his legal troubles. Instead of basking in the moment of becoming a dad, King found himself staring down court dates, arrest records, and the very real possibility of a 5-year prison sentence. The juxtaposition was stark. On one hand, a young man celebrating fatherhood. On the other, a series of reckless choices catching up to him in the harshest way. The internet, of course, had plenty to say. Social media erupted with commentary the moment news broke of his arrest and impending charges. Now, some critics were quick to point the finger at Ty, accusing him of failing as a father despite years of public guidance and warnings. Others, however, expressed sympathy for both King and Tip, acknowledging how difficult it can be to parent in the public eye, and how even with privilege, fame, and money, the struggles of raising a headstrong young man remain universal. The conversation online became a mix of mockery and hope. Some users joked about King's downfall, pointing out the irony of flaunting wealth and guns on social media only toned up in handcuffs. Others argued that this was a turning point, that perhaps becoming a father would finally push King to recognize what was truly at stake, not just for himself, but for his child's future. The arrest footage itself became another layer of the debate. Many viewers noted King's calm and almost calculated demeanor as officers pulled him from his car and cuffed him. To some, it seemed like he understood the cameras were rolling and leaned into the attention, knowing full well that his arrest would go viral.